Kia ora, nau mai ki te whare. Welcome to The House, ko Louis Collins aho. In what is the last week of the penultimate sitting block of the year, the House has been moved into urgency. Urgency gives the government the ability to progress bills through the House more quickly, by enabling longer hours of debating with no stand-down period between each of a bill's stages of consideration, meaning a bill can go from first to third reading all in the same day. The government must give reasons as to why urgency is being accorded. These are sometimes tactical, like making sure a bill becomes law by a certain time, and sometimes political, like fulfilling coalition agreements. The government has a long list of bills at various stages going through the House, all at varying levels of contention. Because nobody wants to go on summer holiday thinking, gee, I should have finished that work thing at the end of last year, governments tend to want to squeeze in as much as they can legislatively before the House breaks for Christmas. There are 13 bills going through urgency this week. One of them, the
Defence Workforce Amendment Bill,
enables the Chief of the Defence Force to sign off on uniformed staff filling in for striking civilians. Here's Scott Simpson on behalf of Minister for Defence, Judith Collins, during the first reading.
This bill amends the Defence Act of 1990 and it improves when and how the Chief of Defence Force can backfill civilian roles if industrial action within the New Zealand Defence Forces puts at risk national security or the delivery of core defence outputs.
The bill is supported by all coalition parties and opposed by all opposition parties, with Labour saying the government had gone back on their word.
When they were making cuts to the civilian roles in the Defence Force, this House asked the Minister on numerous occasions, will those cuts have a meaningful impact on the role of our NZDF personnel to either deploy or to do their job? The Minister told this House, no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. And yet here we are, saying that there are challenges here because there is industrial action being taken, and now all of a sudden the government's trying to backfill those spaces to make sure that they can continue the very basics of their functions. The very basics of their functions, Mr. Speaker.
The Defence Workforce Amendment Bill will go through all its remaining stages this week under urgency. Another bill on the list that has MPs divided across the House is the Education and Training Early Childhood Education Reform Amendment Bill. The bill will put in place some changes from 2024's regulatory review of early childhood education and meet one of the coalition agreements between National and ACT. At its second reading, Associate Minister of Education, David Seymour, told the House it'll define the responsibilities of the Director of Regulation.
It's not a new position. There's a person that does something like this, but they're going to actually have their responsibilities set out in legislation. They're going to have the rights of people who run early childhood centres set out in legislation, the purpose of regulating set out in regulation, and in particular, things like enabling choice for parents is in this legislation, things like ensuring childhood safety is in this legislation, things like ensuring those things with the least possible regulation so that the people like the ones in that room aren't tied up in endless red tape.
Green MP Lawrence Yunnan says there is a lack of information about that role.
For a government that is all about deregulation, cutting all of the tapes, they certainly love to create a lot of new additional roles and additional bureaucracy and additional yellow and blue tapes. And so I think in this, there is so little information about how that Director of Regulation for the Select Committee stage is going to eventuate.
The bill will go through all remaining stages to be passed into law. The Game Animal Council Herds of Special Interest Bill is Minister for Hunting and Fishing James Meagher's first piece of legislation in the House. It seeks to clarify that a herd of special interest designation can be made within national parks. But what is a herd of special interest? Here's Meagher.
Herds of special interest are simply herds of game animals on public conservation land that have been formally designated by the Minister to be managed for hunting purposes. The designation enables certain valued introduced species already present in a specific geographic area to be managed for qualities prized by hunters, such as the size and quality of individual animals.
The Greens' Scott Willis, himself a hunter, said during the first reading that the bill creates division.
This bill makes me sad. Sad because it openly states that our national parks should become sanctuaries for pest populations with special protections when we face a biodiversity crisis. Sad because it undermines the conservation goals of the National Parks Act, and it's unnecessary. That's the tragedy of it. Because the work that's been going on has been successful, this bit of legislation will actually create division, and it doesn't need to be that way.
That bill will receive its second reading under urgency, with MPs likely to speak on what was said during the Select Committee process. I te whakarongo koe ki te whare. You've been listening to The House, a program made with funding from Parliament's Office of the Clerk. Mātua.